Welcome to the Mentor Lab. I am your host, Natalie Lawrence, and today with us, we have the incredible honor and privilege to have Mitra with us. Mitra's childhood included years of instability. Before the age of 14, she spent time at a children and family center. From there, she lived with 2 different foster families as her father was incarcerated and her mother's whereabouts were unknown. In her late teens, her sister was able to take custody. As she transitioned from the child welfare system, she came to the Launchpad, Teen Leadership Foundation's transitional living home, where she found stability and wraparound services to equip her for permanent housing, education, employment, and ongoing relational support. So let's start with Mitra. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself today?
Yes, thank you for having me.
So why don't we start by just having you kind of share a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What are you doing these days? Things like that.
So I'm in college right now. I am majoring to be a yoga and Pilates instructor, and I'm also working.
Love that. I think what is really good to hear of your story is that there are a lot of misconceptions of what foster care is, and that actually every person's story is really different. Like your experience with foster care was for a month, and then with your sister, but it was a separate journey than probably many of the other youths that were in your home at the time had.
I did know some people that were in foster care for a much longer time. That's an entirely different story. It's not something that I can fully relate to, but I would imagine it is very difficult.
And then living with your sister, what was that like? You had kind of already explained it a little bit, and you love her and she's done so much for you. And you, during that time, you didn't want to add a lot to her plate necessarily, but you were an emerging adult in high school. And so what was that like, kind of in those years growing up while, not having a traditional, maybe parenting relationship with your sister?
Well, I never really compared myself or compared my family to other kids or other families. I grew up just thinking that this is my norm, this is my reality. I didn't really compare my sister to others. I didn't compare my lifestyle to other people. I just took it on as mine, and it's my norm, my reality. So I tried to make the best of it. Being a teenager, I did have moments where, I was grumpy, I was moody, and my sister knew that. And so we did try and work it out. But as for school, I was always great in school. I was a good kid. I had really good grades. I was an overachiever in school. So I definitely still enjoy school. That's why I'm in college. So I really enjoyed school in general. I would say that my life at school was very different than my life at home. When I was at school, I would just focus on school and try my best to be a good student. And then I would come home and it's a different type of world, and I just tried to be a good sister. Obviously, there was a lot of moments where we would fight, because we're just siblings living together. So we would argue a lot, but I would say that's normal in any type of family. My sister was very young when she took custody of me and my younger brother. She actually fought for custody against my dad. It was so funny. We would go to courts. We would have court meetings, and she went out of her way, above and beyond, to get custody of me and my younger brother, because we told her, like, we were so tired of living with him. He was diagnosed with a lot of disorders, and it was just not a safe environment. It was not ideal. And me and my brother were very stressed out because my sister and my older brother had already moved out by then. Yeah, she fought for custody and she won. It was interesting. It was very interesting because I was 15 at the time. I didn't really realize how much effort she was putting into it. So now that I'm looking back, she really went out of her way to give me and my younger brother a better life.
It's really cool.
Yeah, she fought a lot
Yeah.
to, give us a better opportunity.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of, then that leads up to kind of later teenage years where you end up having a mentor through
Yes.
Teen Leadership Foundation. So how did you, do you remember first getting connected to your mentor and kind of where you were at in life at the time and what that was like to first meet her? And just tell us a little bit about that first kind of interaction with your mentor.
I remember it very vividly. We were in Irvine. We went to the Irvine camp for a few days, and I was living there within the program, the Teen Leadership Program. They took us out for camping, so we were in the Irvine camp for a few days. And on the last day, they said we were going to have a cookout outside. And so that's when I met Diane, and we were introduced. And it was really nice. The food was great. I thought it was interesting because she's Eastern European, but she's also very familiar with Middle Eastern culture. And the food that they made was inspired by the Middle Eastern culture. So I was very intrigued because we had a lot of similarities. And right away we were able to kind of, share our background a little bit, like cultural similarities. So right away, I already felt, intrigued by her in general.
Connected. You found some common ground right away.
Right away, yes, because of culture. So that was interesting. I didn't know that she was going to be my mentor.
Okay.
That was just the first meeting. And then I think a few weeks later or a few days later, is when I was told that she would be my new mentor. Mm-hmm. And so I was really happy. I was very happy because I said, wait, are you talking about the lady that I met over here? And she said, yeah. And I said, wow, I really connected with her that day. It's so interesting that, we would be paired up to, form a bond. So I was really happy. I was really happy because I was thinking about her and I was thinking about that day. So to be told that, oh, you guys are going to meet again, I thought that was, I was looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, it feels like a God-ordained connection, sort of.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then what has your relationship looked like? I think that was about 2 years ago. And since then, you guys meet regularly. What do your meetings kind of look like practically?
We meet usually once a month or once every other month, just depending on our schedules. But our meetings are usually hours long, 2-3 hours, 4 hours sometimes. When we first started meeting, we would just go to restaurants, have sushi. We both really like sushi, so we would meet up for that. And we would just talk for a few hours and share a meal. And a few other times, we did go to some church events. Afterwards, we would talk about what we learned about God, and we would talk about how we felt about the event. So that's usually what it is. It's usually what our meetings consist of.
It's kind of cool that you have certain meetings where you're just maybe face-to-face talking meeting, and then you have had some where they were like shared experiences that you could experience something side by side, like at a church event, and then kind of talk about it after. Do you think that was one way that built trust and relationship, was just doing something together?
Yes. I think because I feel very comfortable to share my opinions with her. And at first, we were just more of getting to know each other on a surface level. When I first started meeting with her, it was just more of, how are you? How have you been? Mm-hmm. What are your goals and plans? And then as time went on, we started to talk more about, the past. And we started to share a lot about, I started to feel comfortable to open up to her about a lot of things. And so slowly we were able to learn a lot about each other. Trust was formed, especially because I've known her for 2 years. A lot has happened in the last 2 years. And so when I was experiencing some things, she would be there for me. And it was really helpful to know that that she's, there for me. And I always tell her, I'm here for you too. And we also just check up on each other. If we don't meet, we just check up on each other.
Have you had times in your life then in the last couple of years, it sounds like you've kind of hinted at that, where she's shown up for you and you've realized like, oh, she's there for me. Like and what was that, or how did that look?
So I was a marine science major for about a year, and then I switched to yoga and Pilates instructor. This was like a year before, and she was there when I made the switch, and so I felt really, understood and supported by her, because she's also really into Pilates and really into fitness and health. And so she was just there during the time where I made a big change in my life. And in general, I was changing a lot. And I was able to express to her the ways that I've been changing and my new plans and new future goals. So just her being there to kind of witness, everything the way that I'm growing, and also me being able to witness how she's changing over the last 2 years. It's nice, but we, regardless of how much we change, we still have the same bond. But if I can give an example of what it would be, we have celebrated a few holidays together, and that was really nice. We have prayed together before, I believe, or she has prayed. So I also feel that since I've known her, I felt more secure in my relationship to God in general, because she's very secure in her relationship with God, and we were able to connect on that a little bit, and she kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things. So that was one of the biggest changes, I think, is belief and faith. I found myself, ever since I first met her, I found myself being more faithful, being more of a believer. So I would say that is a big change. I don't think she really tried to do it. I don't think she meant to do that. I would just watch her and the way she is, and it inspired me,
Yeah, that's really beautiful. That I love the picture of you are changing and growing and maturing, and also while she was too. And she was changing and life was happening. And yet one constant was that you guys were together and you were meeting, and your relationship was sort of a constant in both of your lives, which I think is really beautiful. And then to know that ways that she was just living her own life could have an impact on yours because you were able to look up to her in those ways. Yeah. Okay, so we kind of talked about this already, but just the idea of building from sort of nothing to building to this place where you have trust, and how has she had an impact on your life in that way? I know you had mentioned even before we were recording ways that you have sought her advice, but that wasn't something that she came at you with. So how did you kind of build from there? As far as your relationship goes.
So she's very smart, so I felt comfortable to slowly start asking her for advice on specific things in my life. And because I would ask, she wouldn't just randomly, she didn't approach me and just started telling me all these things. She didn't approach me with an agenda. She allowed me to, she would just ask me questions about myself to get to know me. And then through that, I felt more comfortable just sharing in general. And so I felt comfortable asking her for advice on what are your thoughts on this? I wanted to know her opinions and her thoughts on certain things. And she would tell me, she would give me advice, and she would be very honest with me. And sometimes she would tell me, I know you probably don't want to hear this. I know you may not fully agree with this, but, in my experience. And then she would tell me, her honest truth. And it opened up my eyes a lot. I feel that our conversations and our time together, just being around her in general, has really grounded me. And, reality checks, and she's very realistic. So I would say that I do take on her advice, and I do remember a lot of the things that she tells me, and it has helped me because she's just honest, even if it's something that I am not fully, I can be ignorant on some things, but she, tells me how it is, what it is, and is very upfront and straightforward about a lot of things. And I feel that really grounds me. And
were you ever resistant to that? Like at first, like, hey, wait, I don't want your advice? Or had it been enough time where you thought, oh, actually, reality check, you use that word, maybe that doesn't feel good, but you respected her enough to receive it still?
Yes, I do respect her, and I do receive the information she tells me. And there was some moments where I for sure wanted to disagree, or I wanted to debate in my mind. But then after a few seconds, I thought, I would think, no, she's right. She's right. I can't even debate on that, because it's something that I've also heard my sister tell me, and my sister's usually right too. And it's funny because they tell me a lot of the same things. And then so it's interesting. So that's also what we've never really had disagreements. We have our own opinions, but we agree a lot. I think there would be moments where I was a little resistant, but then I took a step back and I really tried to see things from her point of view and her perception. I hold her up very highly, and I believe a lot of the things that she says to be true and to be real. So even in times where I may have been resistance, that kind of it kind of went down, because I was more agreeing with her than I was like disagreeing with myself, because she's very smart. And so I knew that I would I knew to just believe her and trust her word for it, because I do trust her judgment. So even if there was something that I may have been resistant to, I kind of let that slide, and I trusted her judgment. I trusted what she was telling me, because, it's just like intuition, gut feelings. It's like I really believed her, and I still do believe her in a lot of things that she tells me. And I try to see things from her point of view, because I do know she just wants what's best for me. And she tells me that too. And I think because it's been 2 years and she's always been consistent on how we are to each other and how she treats me, it's helped me to fully trust her and believe her in general, because I feel like that's what builds trust. It's consistency. It's not wavering, your morals. She's been the same person since I met her. Like, her moral compass has not changed. The way she treats me hasn't changed. She's always treated me with respect. She's always treated me with honesty and truth. And I think that's what really built a solid connection.
That's really good. Consistency in character and in just showing up the way that she shows up. She is who, like, who she's going to be.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I think that also says a lot about you, Mitra, the way that you're humbly willing to receive what others are offering you. And I really admire that. That's a really good quality that you have. So looking forward, your relationship with her, you continue to meet. What do you hope for? Do you hope to continue to meet with her and have her in your life moving forward?
Yes, I do hope that we can, be friends forever. That's definitely something that I, hope for. I really like our connection. I really value her time.
Yeah. So to kind of close our time, first of all, just thank you for sharing so much of your own story. And I know you said you don't always share those things. So thank you for sharing and being honest with those things and sharing about your relationship with Diane. Speaking to other mentors, as someone who's been mentored, is there anything you would want them to know about that relationship or encouragements of what it's like to be a mentor in this capacity?
I think the main thing that really helped me with having, a mentor is the fact that she did show up for me, but she was more willing to get to know me first. And we spent a lot of time just getting to know each other, at a slower pace, through time, and just consistent communication, not like every day, but in general, our communication style was very mature, very professional, and then it became kind of personal, but just at an appropriate pace is what's important. And getting to know each other first is important, and allowing someone to open up to you on their own time when they're ready for it. I think it's important for a mentor to not try and push whoever they're mentoring to open up about things or all that. I think it's important for someone to be able to open up about their life when they feel comfortable to do so. So I think building comfort first and then is important, getting to know each other and building comfort, and then allowing that person to open up about things at their own time, at their own pace. It just flows more naturally that way.
Yeah, I think we all would agree that being like listened to and heard and understood it's rare. So to have that is so good. So just to clarify what you were just saying, that idea of kind of an appropriate pace, do you think that's specific to you, to each person, or do you feel like there's a kind of a right answer to that? Like maybe texting once a week or, regular meetings, or what would you say to that?
I would say that having meetings when both people have the time and the right day for it, not like just having a meeting, not just having a meeting that you kind of like shove into your schedule.
Okay.
But when, at an appropriate time, at an appropriate place, when you're not rushing to go somewhere after. So just the timing of the meetings is important. The place is important. Not rushing connection. We met about once a month, and that was great for me. Some days I was busy, some days I wasn't, but that was great for me because it gave us time away from each other. So the time that we did have together, it was, we valued it a lot more because it's like I don't see this person very often. So when I do see them, it's a really deep connection. So I think that would be a good place to start. You meet a little less often at first. That way, when you see them, it's like you value it a lot more. Of course, depending on who it is, you can meet more often. But I think the space in between really helps with growth in general.
That's really insightful. I wouldn't have thought of that. That makes a lot of sense. And one other thing you had mentioned before we started rolling was she would bring you gifts sometimes, and that meant a lot to you. Will you share a little bit about that too?
Yes, of course. So she did give me a gift for my birthday last year, and I really liked it. It was these bracelets, and she knew that I liked gold, and so I really love the bracelets. They're so cute. And she did it randomly, so it was really thoughtful. And then we were talking about, and then we started getting into the topic of like sea animals and all of that. So she got me a book in regards to that, and I really liked it. And my birthday was also recently, and she got me a birthday gift. And everything that she's gotten me, it's very thoughtful and very specific because she knows what I like. We've known each other for 2 years now, so she just knows what I like. And another thing that I like about our connection is that she remembers things about me. She'll bring something up about me because she just remembers details about me. She remembers our conversations. She remembers, events and all of that. And I think that's what also made me fully believe, like, oh, she's really here for me. She's really present, because she'll remember things about me, and she'll check me on certain things.
Yeah.
She'll tell me, like, hey, like, did you do this? Like, did you, are you doing what you're gonna be doing? Did you end up doing that? Or how was that? So she's very present, and she's just knows about my life, and she'll, mostly that.
Yeah, something I love about that is it wasn't just the giving the gifts that mattered to you. It was the thought. It was like, oh, she really knows me. She knows what I would like. She heard me mention this one time or whatever. And so it was a way that she was able to like kind of express how she was getting to know you. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it made me really happy because I love gifts in general. So that made me really happy. And I think I remember telling her, I don't know if I told her at some point that I do like gifts. So I don't remember that part. But yeah, and when she suggests certain places to go, it's because she remembers that I say that I like this or I like that. So she'll suggest a place to meet. Like, she knows I love sushi, so we usually meet up for sushi. She knows I love seafood. But yes, and I also know a lot about her, so I also do ask her questions about her life, and I also like to update her with my life and ask her, like, update me with what's going on with you as well. So she'll do that too. She'll update me on a lot of areas about her life, and I really appreciate that, because it's not just me yapping away to her. She also does a lot of yapping. We both kind of get really into it. So it's nice. It's not one-sided at all. I feel like it's a very mutual connection, to where she feels comfortable to share a lot of things with me, and I feel comfortable to share a lot of things with her. So it's a very mutual thing.
Yeah, and that probably builds trust on your end too, to understand her more and know more of her life too. Can you explain a couple of characteristics that you love about your mentor, Diane?
So the first one I would say is she's very upfront and honest about things. So if I come to her with an issue that I'm experiencing or something that I'm stressed about, I'll express to her how I'm feeling, and then I'll ask her what she thinks about it, and she'll just be very upfront and honest about it, because I ask her first. Like, I ask for her input, I ask for advice. So that's when she tells me it. She doesn't really give unsolicited advice, she likes to hear me out, but then I ask her, and then she'll tell me what she thinks. And she doesn't gloss over things. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She just tells me how it is. She's very straightforward. And but she's also very gentle. So I just appreciate her honesty, and I respect her for how upfront she is about things and real life experiences. And sometimes, even if it's not something that I would want to hear, she'll also tell me that too. I just really respect how honest and upfront she is about things. Another characteristic I would say is her punctuality. Like, every single meeting that we've had, she's always there on time. Sometimes she's there a little earlier. But every meeting that we've had, she shows up, she's there. And it means a lot to me, because she says the things that she does the things that she said she's going to do. And when we have a meeting and she tells me I'm going to do this and that, in our next meeting, I'll ask her, like, hey, so, like, did you do this and that? She said, yeah, I did do this and that. So I would say she sticks to her word a lot, and I respect her for that. She's very optimistic. She smiles a lot. She laughs a lot. She's very optimistic about life in general. She's very positive. She likes to see the brighter side of things. And sometimes we'll go into moments of, where we're in our feelings a little bit and it gets a little sad. But then she'll say, but, and then she'll, bring out an optimistic point of view. Or sometimes when I'm feeling a little sad about something, she'll sit with me through the sadness and let me vent. but then we're able to talk about the bright side of it. So she's very optimistic, and she helps me see the brighter side of things, and I really appreciate that. I feel like she really brings out the positive side to things, the positive side to life, because there's always going to be the not so bright side, but she likes to focus on the bright side, and that encourages me to also focus on the brighter side of things. And very optimistic. I think that's a great quality for someone to have. You know, it's hard to be around people that just see things negative way. It can be very draining. But she has a lot of energy. She has a lot of, life, and I feel very energized around her, and I just feel very at peace around her, because I know that she is a very good person. She has a very good heart, and I've learned that through our experiences together, and just little things that have happened, that have come up, the way she's shown up for it, the way I've seen her be like a good person. It's very clear, and it's clear to others too. The people that have talked about her, they all say the same thing. Like, Diane is great. She's very kind. I'm very caring. Another characteristic, I would say, I don't know if this connects to the other ones, but she's very caring. She likes to know about me. She wants to know what's going on with me. She'll ask me. She'll follow up with me on certain things. And overall, she's very caring, and I appreciate that. And I'm also caring too. I also like to, give back, and we reciprocate energy a lot. I think her being the way that she is, she's just herself. She just is herself, and she allows me to be myself, and it flows very naturally because of that. I don't feel that she's trying to be someone she's not. I don't feel that she's wavering in her character. She's very consistent in her character, and I noticed that. And I really value her time. I really value all the time that we've spent together. And
Well, thanks so much for being here, and your story and your voice really matters to us. And thank you for everyone who's listening. Thanks for tuning in. Just want to remind you, if you have any questions, or if you liked this episode or this conversation and there was something that maybe came up that you want to know more about, please tell us, as we're creating more of these conversations to help you all. And we want to hear more of your input. So let us know if you're listening and watching this from home. We're grateful that you've chosen to be a part of this mission, one rooted in hope and compassion and belief that every young person deserves to be seen, supported, and loved. Thanks for listening. Thank you for caring. And thank you for stepping into this journey with us.